Hola, bienvenidos. My name is Tom Whitaker and I'm Associate Professor of Hispanic Studies here at the University of Warwick. And I'm part of a friendly, dynamic and approachable department made up of bilingual experts in Hispanic Studies who come from Europe and Latin America. Now, the aim of this short presentation is to tell you all about the culture modules that we offer here on our Hispanic Studies degree at Warwick. Here at Warwick, you get to complement your study of the Spanish language with an opportunity to explore the diverse cultures in which it's spoken. Our exciting culture programme is designed so that you get a fully integrated view of society, politics, history and culture across the entire Hispanic world. Our students become not only linguistically fluent, but culturally fluent. You'll get the chance to study a wide range of materials, from plays and novels and poems to films, songs and paintings. All of these materials are studied in Spanish, and for those of you who are beginners, all of them will have English translations provided. The study of these materials will allow you to understand the broader historical and cultural context in which they were originally produced. Through our culture programme, you get to study how Spanish is spoken and lived across the world. Here at Warwick, we take a holistic view of Hispanic studies, where students get to study the cultural and geographical diversity of the Hispanic world in its entirety. So from Galicia to the Caribbean, from Chile to Colombia, our research and curriculum interests stretch even as far as Equatorial Guinea and the Philippines. So, as you'll see, Hispanic Studies here at Warwick emphasises the study of Spanish from a truly global perspective. And in so doing, we seek to broaden our students' horizons and help them to become fully engaged global citizens. As well as crossing multiple continents, our curriculum and research interests also stretch unbroken from the 16th century to the present day. So you'll get the chance to study plays and sonnets from Spain's so-called Golden Age, so that was the period of Don Quixote and Velázquez, but you'll also get to study contemporary Latin American road movies, for instance. So we think that this range and diversity of offering is not easily paralleled elsewhere. Okay, so let's have a look at how your first year programme would look. Alongside the core language module, joint honours and single honours students will also get to study these two modules. The first one, Language, Text and Identity in the Hispanic World, looks at the ways in which Spanish is spoken and written across the world from a sociolinguistic perspective. So through a close analysis of different texts from a number of different geographical contexts, students will be looking at the sociological aspects of language use. In other words, looking at what language can tell us about society. You'll also be looking at how language allows us to explore questions surrounding national identity and gender. The other module, Icons and Representations of the Hispanic World, gets students to think about where the familiar stereotypes of Spanishness and Latin Americanness come from. So how have Spaniards and Latin Americans represented themselves to travellers, tourists, artists and even invaders over the centuries? This module will explore how these representations have been shaped in turn by iconic figures and authors from the Middle Ages to the present, such as Don Juan and Che Guevara to Cervantes and Jorge Luis Borges. So just a few words about how these two modules will be assessed. So the assessment of these modules really helps you to make the transition from school to university. You'll learn how to write an academic essay, you'll learn how to use the library, you'll learn how to compile a bibliography and all the other academic skills that you'll need throughout your degree. You'll also get to write 2 practice essays at the end of each term, and then you get a chance to rewrite a longer version of these essays at the end of the year, taking into account the feedback provided by your tutors. When you get to the second and final year of your degrees, you'll have a number of culture modules to choose from. A list of current modules that you might be able to choose from are shown in the screen behind me. You can also read more about them on our website. So as you can see, you can really tailor your degree to the things that you're most interested in, whether it be literature or film, or Spain or Latin America. All of these modules are assessed by coursework only, and there are a variety of different modes of assessment across these modules. So some will be assessed by traditional essays, for instance, others through presentations, translations and close text commentaries. So let's take a closer look at one of these modules. The module Crime and Punishment in Spanish Film is taught by myself, and in this module students get to study a number of crime thrillers from Spain from the 1950s to the present day. And we get to consider why certain types of crime films were popular at certain times in Spanish history, and what this can tell us about the historical period in which it was made. So we get to look at film not just as a mode of entertainment or a work of art, but as a living, breathing sociological document that provides a window onto a particular time and place. In addition to this, students get to learn about film technique analysis. So you'll get to learn how to write about camera work, how to write about sound, performance, the concept of mise en scène, and you incorporate all of these terms into your essay writing. For instance, in the 70s and 80s, one of the most popular types of crime cinema in Spain was delinquent films. And these films often featured real-life delinquents who had no acting experience, who became stars in their own right after these films. And we get to explore why these films were so popular at the time. The Dictator of Spain, Francisco Franco, had recently died, and Spain was transitioning into a democracy. But as we find out in the class, the Spanish press often exaggerated the rising juvenile delinquent rates in Spain as a way of criticising the new democracy. So we explore the way in which these films played on the fears and social anxieties of Spain at the time. As part of your degree, you'll also have the opportunity to spend a year abroad. And here's my colleague Raquel to tell you more about that.
Our year abroad is quite flexible, so normally it takes between 8 and 9 months, and it could be in either year 2 or year 3. It's also possible to split the year between countries, or even use the summers before and after, depending on the amount of languages that you're studying. And that will always be with the support from the School of Modern Languages, that we will support you before you go. We will have several briefing meetings, and while you're away, because you're always going to be in contact with the school, with the school's office, with the year abroad team, and with your personal tutor. So what do we offer here in Hispanic Studies? So we have 3 different pathways that you could follow. The first one is to do a study placement in our selected universities. If you want to go to Spain, we have agreements with Oviedo and Vigo in the north of Spain, and then Salamanca and Valladolid in the center, Valencia and Zaragoza in the east, and then in the south of Spain we have agreements with Sevilla, Malaga and Cádiz. If you want to go to Latin America, we have agreements with Puerto Rico, Colombia, Chile and Peru. So a different pathway that you could take is to be a language assistant with the British Council. That could be in Spain or in Latin America. And the third option is a work placement, which is arranged by students with the support of the School of Modern Languages. They are all quite flexible, so you can do them on your full year or half year, depending on the combination that you study or the languages that you do, except for the British Council one that has to be full year and in your year 3, because that's a requisite of the British Council.
I hope that this short presentation has given you a taste of the types of culture modules and their distinctiveness here at Warwick. If you've got any questions, no matter how big or small, don't hesitate to email me. Thanks for listening, and gracias. Adios.